Arap Sang's defense lawyer, Katwa Kigen, told the International Criminal Court that his client was not involved in any plot to execute attacks in the post-election violence. Let's now bring in our associate editor, Noor Otieno, who is live from The Hague with the proceedings of the second day of the hearings there. Noah, could you give us an update of what happened today and perhaps what to expect in the coming days?
Yes, Yvonne, and our viewers back in Nairobi and in East Africa, good evening. Yes, it was a very busy day for the defense team for the radio presenter Joshua Arap Sang at the International Criminal Court here at The Hague in the Netherlands. Their job today, the assignment for the defense team for Joshua Arap Sang was to prove to the judges why they want the judges to find that Joshua Arap Sang has no case to answer. And they took a three-pronged approach. One, they wanted to convince the judges that any evidence that the prosecution has put forward to support the theory that Joshua Arap Sang used certain words on air during his days as a radio presenter in 2007 to incite anti-PNU supporter sentiments in the region where he operated from around Eldoret. The evidence was not enough. Number two, they wanted to convince the judges that the case should be declared Joshua Arap Sang has no case to answer because the allegations that he used his position as a radio presenter to make broadcasts in support of maybe getting funds for the purchase of weapons were not true, that the prosecution has not presented strong enough evidence to prove that indeed he used his position to do that. And lastly, number three, the defense team for Joshua Arap Sang wanted to convince the judges today that the theory that Sang was somehow part of a network, part of an organization whose leader, whose head was Kenya Deputy President William Ruto, again, that there wasn't enough evidence to support that theory. Here's a bit of what went on in the courtroom today, and remember tomorrow, of course, it will be the turn of the Kenyan Deputy President William Ruto. Take a look at what happened today. Now, after the opening statements given here on Tuesday by both the defense side and the prosecution side, the defense team for radio journalist Joshua Sang took the day Wednesday to give their justification for the filing of the motion of a no case to answer against Joshua Sang. And the defense team for radio journalist Joshua Sang, led by lawyer Katwa Kigen, was giving the same argument, following the same pace they set on Tuesday, appealing to the judges, pleading with the judges to disregard the number of the witnesses that have been produced by the prosecution side and the content and the quantity of the evidence given by these witnesses. Katwa Kigen is telling the judges, for example, that some of the pieces of evidence given by the prosecution witnesses do not have exact dates, exact contexts, or indeed exact venues that can be verified by either the prosecution, the judges, or the defense teams. And this is one of the grounds on which they want the case against radio journalist Joshua Sang to be thrown out.
The prosecution was not able to produce a single audio where those words were used. Not a single material showing that in fact Mr. Sang used those words. The most that they did was to have witnesses, some of who came and disowned those statements, saying that in fact that is what Mr. Sang said.
Katwa Kigen is telling the judges that some of the allegations that are being leveled against radio journalist Joshua Sang are not material that would justify jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, telling the court, for example, that some of the statements attributed to Joshua Sang are amounting to protected speech that should not be pulling the man before this court.
It looks like you say, what do you, Judge, what do you want me to say? But if your position is that, look, these statements were not made, why don't you leave it at that? That when you say these statements were not made, but even if they were made, they're protected speech, of course questions will have to be asked of you.
Now, Thursday will be the day for Kenyan Deputy President William Ruto to present his side of the argument on why they want the case against him to be thrown out. And the political significance of the timing of this no case to answer motion, especially in the case of William Ruto, will not be lost on observers in Kenya. One, William Ruto is a very, very important pillar of the Jubilee alliance's plan for the 2017 election. And, as such, Ruto cannot spend this year attending court proceedings back and forth, and that's why the decision that will come from these particular proceedings on the no case to answer motion will be very, very important, not just for Ruto, but also for the players and the leaders of the Jubilee Alliance.
We really hope this is our last travel to the ICC. We not only hope, we believe, and our honest advice and faith and belief is that the court must take with seriousness why we are here, what we've seen here, what's happening here, that it is not good for our nation, it's not good for anybody, it's just a waste of public resources, a waste of time, persecution and of the two gentlemen, and leaving our country in a state of unnecessary suspense in terms of our reconciliation.
On Friday, all sides of this case, the judges, the defense and the prosecution are expected to seek clarifications on points that have been raised throughout the week. From the International Criminal Court in The Hague in the Netherlands, my name is Noah Otieno for KTN News.